What am I doing at St. Pius Church in Troy? You're going to want to see this. Come with me. Alright guys, we got quite the climb, but I promise you, it's worth it once we get there. Alright guys, I'm up in the steeple now at the church here, and this is the heart and soul of the clock. This thing was given to the church in 1887, and from what I've been told, it's ran pretty consistently up through the 50s, and then it was basically let go. My grandpa actually took this clock out of here entirely, piece by piece, had it restored, completely redid it, brought it back up here piece by piece, reassembled it, and that was in, let me check this tag over here. It's hard to see, but 77 and 78. And it ran pretty consistently. Grandpa took care of this thing. It ran pretty consistently up through about 2005. And unfortunately, his health got to where he couldn't take care of it. So I'm up here today trying to get it rejuvenated and get it going again, and train a few other people how to keep it going and keep telling the time to Troy, I guess. But it looks really complicated, but it's actually pretty dang simple how it works. It all starts right here. You got a weight that weighs 350 pounds, and that's what actually drives the clock. This cog up here, one side is beveled one way. Come over here. One side is beveled the other way. And that weight pulling and kicking that gear back and forth is what keeps the pendulum swinging. And you can adjust how fast the clock runs by screwing that pendulum up or down. So as the clock runs, it turns this gear right here. This gear is your quarter hour bells. So that's quarter after, half after, quarter till, and then what you can't see down below would be the hour. So as soon as that thing right there pops up out of that groove, it will release this lever, turning this gear right here, and then these arms will ring the bell. Go to the other side of the clock. You got a similar setup, except for these teeth right here. You can't see it because it's back in there, but there's 12 teeth, and each tooth represents an hour mark. So as that gear right there comes around, if we get a better view of it right through there, as that gear comes around, it'll release this hammer right here, expose the amount of teeth it needs to expose for the hour, and then it'll activate this hammer, which is the hour bell. These big fins over here on the side, all they do is they're like an air governor. So as this thing rings, it keeps the timing of the ring consistent, so it don't start ringing faster and faster and faster as the weight falls. A lot of brass gears, a lot of moving parts, but it's remarkable how good a shape this thing is. I got a lot of good memories as a kid coming up here with my grandpa and winding this clock every Saturday afternoon before church. So this shaft right here will take you on up, and it goes on up 2 more flights above us until we get up to the clock faces, and I'll climb up there and show you that real quick. All right, so we're going to leave the clock area here. We go up the next step, and up here you can see there's the 350 pound weight that drives the actual clock mechanism. That is the weight, 750 pound weight. It drives the hour bell, and this weight here is another 750 pounds, and it drives the quarter hour. Then that shaft right there is the one that continues on up and goes on up to the clock faces. can't tell, I made it to the floor with the bells on it just in time for it to ring quarter after, or actually it's half after. But this bell here and that bell there are your 2/4 hour bells. And this bell here is your hour bell. And I don't know if you can see, but this is the hammer that the clock activates. So it pulls down on that. And rings the bell. And there's your shaft right there. It continues on up, and we got one more floor to go before we get to the clock. Okay, we finally made it to the top. So there's the shaft coming up from the clock. It comes up into this gearbox here. And then once it gets to this gearbox, it splits off and goes all 4 directions to the different clock faces. You got one there, one over here, and one behind us. So once the shaft gets out to the clock face, it does the gear reduction at that point to go from the hour to the half, or from the hour to the minute hand. So you can see if you look out through there, that's the weights on the hand, and then here comes the hand. So if I spin this thing around, boy, time's flying in Troy. So that right there would be 12 o'clock. See how both hands are sticking straight up? That would be 12:30. Those hands have a weight on them. That weight just offsets it. It's amazing how well they're balanced. But now for years, Grandpa and whoever was before him wound this clock by hand with this lever right here. Once the clock is wound, it'll run for anywhere from 8 to 10 days, I guess. It's supposed to run 10 days. Usually we try to wind it every 7. But we still wind this one by hand because it's pretty easy. But Grandpa finally got smart years ago, and he built this contraption here. And it works really well for winding the other 2 gears. I believe that is a gearbox out of a washing machine. Not for sure what kind of rigging he's got in between, but by golly, she works, and that's all that matters. That clock is a pretty cool piece of history. I've done some research and tried to find some other ones similar to it. I have never been able to find one exactly like this one. There's nothing in our area like that. I found a few similar ones up in a courthouse in Paoli, and there's a bunch of them up in the Northeast, but they're getting pretty few and far between. So pretty cool piece of old equipment. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, if you could just take a few seconds to hit that thumbs up button, that'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out on the next great adventure or the next project on Dirt Perfect, hit that subscribe button.